Good evening, good evening. Hey, Afrofuturist and those that love them. It is my pleasure to introduce this conversation following the amazing performance that just blew me away. I'm Monique Martin, the Director of Programming for Harlem Stage, and this was led by Nona Hendricks. She has led a year-long celebration and investigation of Afrofuturism. I'm so excited, I can't hardly speak. Afrofuturism, which I think we hatched in another dimension, but we launched it in September of 2019. And this is part one of a two-part series that culminates this year-long investigation. Joining Nona as her alter ego, Cyborical, is Lisa Jessie Peterson, who is a trifecta of fire as a singer, an actress, an activist, a poet, and more mother, poet, activist, and singer as well. So we want to introduce them and let you have an opportunity to ask questions and be in conversation with this wonderful trifecta of pure fire. So welcome everyone. You can unmute.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say, I want to introduce Sekou Luke, who's also on the call with us. Sekou is the amazing videographer of Merlina with Lisa Jessie Peterson, that creation.
Thank you, and welcome Sekou. That was beautiful. All three of you, I have to say that as we shift to digital and virtual programming, we're all trying to figure it out. And these were three mini films that had so many layers to them. Lisa, I didn't know where you were. You could have been anywhere, indoor, outdoor, on a planet, the way that microphone kept swinging through. And I love, Kame, the outdoor setting, all of it. The death wheel with gravity at the beginning, Nona. So I want to turn it over to you, Nona, just if you could let us know, how did you select this crew of artists for this program as we focus on the feminine aspects of Afrofuturism?
Yes, that's an important word. We were really looking at the contributions of women in the space of Afrofuturism and speculative fiction as well, because there has been such a lack of attention going back to something we'll touch on in the next part of the series, a woman, Phyllis Wheatley, from 1753, might I say, who was looking into the future. Lisa Jessie, who I've worked with, Peterson, on many occasions, and always Lisa brings an amazing individual, futuristic, but also grounded in her Blackness and her African heritage message forth, and moves people with her performance, Peculiar Patriot, just so many things that Lisa's been able to do as a one-woman artist, whirlwind, African, bringing from all the way back to now and into the future. I said to Lisa, she reminds me of when I first saw Whoopi Goldberg many years ago for the first time, slinging that shirt she had tied around her head, trying to have hair and be white, you know, and you have that same power and that same strength. I worked with More Mother as well. I was introduced to her by Hank Shockley and Joanne, and I was like, whoa, how have I been missing out on this? And from then on, almost everything I've been able to do to present at Joe's Pub or different places, I've called Cami or More Mother to bring her incredible channeling, I call it, of words, thoughts, ideas, time, space, past, present, future, to what it is that I'm doing, whether it's on just a musical level, to the words that are spoken, or whether it's on a level where the integration of technology and that whole idea of using technology as just another pencil But when people use it brilliantly, it just becomes a part of what they're doing rather than it's like, oh, look, I've got some technology, I've got something here that I can, it becomes just part of them and what they're doing. And this, and I felt that way. And I introduced Sekou to Lisa because I thought that they would make a great match in her retelling of and representing of Merlina. And he is an accomplished videographer in his own right. And they just were like that when they got together. It was just a match made in heaven. And Etienne Stedvik, who did the score, who works with me, who's not on here, but we have to give him kudos because he just like overnight went, I got it, and laid it out and worked with me on creating that musical score for Merlina. So that's why these people were, More Mother and Lisa were chosen, because they represent that that bringing of the African diaspora through to today, but also pushing the envelope into another space going forward.
I've seen Merlina in different iterations. I wonder if you could talk about the time we are in now with COVID, the world is shut down, specifically focused on where artists, how you can express your artistry, where are the spaces, since the stages are closed, the spaces that you can share your artistry, and what does this time now bring to Merlina? I think I've seen Merlina maybe 10 years ago or beginning of her. So I love the resonance that she has now and would love for you to share some of that.
Sure. So it's this time that we're in is like, we're in like little boxes right now, like talking to each other. And so for any live performer, and I'll speak for myself specifically, I've had to transition all of my stage work to little boxes on screens, and doing live platforms like this on Zoom and Instagram. So, and because all the theaters, they're live streaming their performances and their shows. So this is the new abnormal. And so I was, just really, really blessed that Nona asked me to participate in this and suggested filming Merlene, and I was like, great. And so when she connected Sekou and I, it just turned into this a whole other thing that I didn't even, it just blew my mind. I didn't know it was going to be what it became. And so now, the work is able to have a life beyond the stage, because there is no, this is the stage, right? What we're, the platform that we're on right now, this is the stage.
And for you, More Mother?
I've been really getting into my artwork. This year, I've been working on so much music because that's what it was, put your head down and get to work every day. But now that I've done a bunch of stuff and created a lot of sounds, I really want to start making larger collages, painting, and I want to create more books. I'm really into writing poetry. So I want to really dwell into that and really just, and it's something that Nona said earlier, by doing this, I believe that I'm also enriching the music, and expanding the music. But yeah, I'm excited, just to have time to really sketch things out. I want to create a musical next year. So, it's just time to get to work, and things are going to change, maybe not, I don't have to release an album or a project every month, I can set my own pace. And I think that's one thing I was definitely missing, pace, because I was just on the go, So it's now, instead of feeling bad about not being on tour, I can really, learn through stillness.
There's a line in that you stated towards the end, we can change anything. And folks in the chat really resonated with that and repeated that. And I know it sounds somewhat simplistic, but people are really looking to themselves and looking for answers of how can I make a change? How can I make a shift? What is this pause affording me? So what did you mean by that? We can change anything.
Well, I like to think in the concept of waves, you know, not just about, you know, things are always constantly changing on the micro level, but thinking about ways that we can impact each other through the work that we're doing in isolation. You know, for so long, I think a lot of our ideas have been, oh, let's create this for a live environment, or let's make the people feel this way. But now I think it's kind of to shift the goal of, you know, the ripple effect of the work we do, you know. I believe that, you know, it's not going to be everyone, you know, but for those of us that are invested in the, you know, healing power of sound and the revolution of sound, I think it's important that we create these small little waves, you know.
And Sekou, as institutions and artists are looking to bring a cinematic quality to their work, because we love these squares that we're in right now, the Harlem, Hollywood, Brooklyn, Philly squares. But we know we have screen fatigue and we're craving more dynamic content, and you certainly created that. So what can you say to both artists and institutions that are in this moment of moving towards this dynamic, multi-layered content?
Opportunity for a new type of content, which is, I'm calling it now cinematic theater, right? Because, and even for me, I was very inspired. Lisa, I was inspired by your work. When I read the script and I saw your performance of it, I said, wow, we have it in one take, like that. And so that's the beauty. And actually I saw that in More Mother's Peace too. And I love that too. It's like, I felt I was there because the camera just was present and we didn't cut. And that's the difference between what theater does than I've been all over Netflix than what Netflix does. You know, Netflix is a different thing. So I think we're carving out a new space that I think theaters can be present with, this new space of creating that still captures a sense of this is live and this is uncut and this is and we get to see the beauty of an artist like Lisa as an artist, a brilliant artist. And I wanted to make sure the audience saw the work that you do. Force performance you give. So it provides an opportunity for that for us.
We missed a little bit. Sometimes you were breaking up, but I did want to lift up this idea of this continuous shot, because that's what theater is. There's no cuts. You know, it's a continuous experience. That's what live theater, concerts, all of that is. When the curtain goes up and the lights go on, it's on. Mm-hmm. So what I hear you saying is that you took that approach with the filming so that it was a continuous experience versus editing, cutting, which could make it dynamic and you know, sometimes we wouldn't even know, depending on the skill of the camera person and the editor. Yeah. So I love that you also picked that up in More Mothers, because we get to follow the journey. So we really feel like we're going with you. Are you going behind the tree? Where are you going? Where are you going now? We're right with you. So that's fantastic, especially for us as, you know, with institutions to look at how do we not compete, but offer what we offer that's not Hulu or Netflix or all of TikTok, you know, all of the other platforms.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, for the artists to be able to really get across so that you know, the camera is with you, you become one, as opposed to, and you're not really playing to the camera, you are doing what it is that you do, and the camera is coming to you. And that's, you know, the thing about both of the performers, More Mother and Lisa, they are, and I say performer and I don't mean it in the sort of limited way that that word says, but, you know, because what you're doing is you're not performing, you're channeling the spirit of what, you know, that you have a character, Merlina, but it's more than that. Merlina is kind of the like sort of seed that you plant, but what's behind that, all that you have to say, that you feel, that you've lived, that you are sharing, that comes with you from your ancestry, is coming through. And the same thing with More Mother, you know, I feel your, you know, where you are. I feel where you live. I feel the people that you engage with when you share, I should say, rather than perform. I hear all of that. You know, I don't just hear like go like, oh, look, so, you know, More Mothers on stage, More Mothers, you know, it's a communing that happens. And it's really nice to see, specifically Sekou as a videographer, that you go there rather than going, you know, oh, let me add, you know, let me take this and chop it up and make it, you know, do my Steven Spielberg moment here on, you know, it's, you know, you go like, wow, look at that performance. Let me get that, right? And that's, you know, for Harlem Stage to be able to present artists in that way, I think it's really important. And theater, you know, which is something that has always bothered me about theater, is the intermission, right? It's like, hey, something's happening. Why you want me to stop and buy some chocolate bonbons or whatever, you know?
For $10.
Right. And then, you know, then I got to come back, and then you got to get me involved again, you know? So I was really happy when it went to like the 90-minute format where it's straight through. So anyway, that I just wanted to bring that back again into the conversation. But and this is, you know, as much as it is fiction, it is speculative, but it is also very grounded in the African spirit and energy. And it is also about, you know, we are in the future. We are in the future, and we're pushing and bringing others along with us. I mean, Cami, just speak a bit about the technology that you use.
Yeah, well, I just want to jump on a little bit what you're saying about speculative. What we can do is, we're saying that what we have to say and what we have to give is valuable. So if something happened in the past, it's not stuck there. We could add our own interpretation, but like you said, it's not so much of an interpretation or something guided by intelligence. It's a channeling. It's an understanding of the way, you know? And I think that's something that we miss a lot, that, you know, we don't have any say or shift of what has happened before. We are allowed to investigate, and we don't have to have some degree that says we're anthropologists to dive deep into what Alice Coltrane is doing. You know, we are the actual ones that should be doing that, not some theorists in some Ivy League school, you know, because that's a part of pushing to the future, you know, and that's why my work is always multi-generational, because how am I telling the full story? Each of us have an importance. And another thing I would say is that all my work is done right in my community in North Philadelphia, because we have so many, you know, buried treasures. You know, we have Sun Ra here, we have John Coltrane around the corner from my house. I mean, you know, we have this rich history, but if we don't do, you know, the research, if we don't start opening ourselves to feel what has happened in these neighborhoods that we're in, we can't really tell the full story. And that's just the, you know, that's just an important thing, you know,
Yes.
of not waiting for someone to define the technology for you. You know, I say over and over again, Alice Coltrane playing the sitar is a technology for us as Black women. You know,
Yes.
sit and meditate. There's no rule book, you know, it's you and the sound.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for taking us there.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other speak?
Lots of praise in the chat. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the chat and really appreciating Sekou and your work with artists. I think people are going to be looking for you as artists are trying to figure out how to bring their work to the people that represents them. And I think about something that Michelle Ndegoncello said about when she created Can I Get a Witness at Harlem Stage. She said it was the space allowed the audience to convene with the work versus the work being presented to them.
Yes.
It really stuck with me, and I feel all of you have done this. And now, Sekou, you found a way to even do that digitally, where we're convening with this work rather than passively sitting and just consuming it. And that's not an easy feat to do.
I also
without Stephen Spielberg money.
Yes. I also wanted to, so Kame, just you can tell, shout out about your organization in Philadelphia.
Yes.
So,
Yes, it's blackquantumfuturism.com. That's the website. You can see all the works that we've been doing. We've just released a book about community futurisms. So that's, you know, something was saying earlier about the person that knows about the community is your neighbor the most. You know, not some outside developer, not some young art kids moving in. Your actual everyday neighbors, you know, are the ones that really hold the information that you need. So, you know, please check out Black Quantum Futurism. Please check out the books. We got some things happening in Brooklyn next year. And I just want to thank you, Nona, because not saying you set the stage, but with your strength, you know, we're all riding on this, you know, we're all the exchange of you believing in us and being so strong in your own creative output is very, you know, much needed. It's a blessing, and thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, I keep looking for my twins in this world, you know, and I keep finding them, and you're one. So I've got
thank you.
all of these connections, you know. And Lisa, I also have to do a shout out. You know, you've got some other stuff coming up, but I also have to say, you know, I need some more of that gangster goddess body butter that you make.
I like to have some too, please.
I got, you know what? I got the whole squad. I got my gangster goddess body butter. Yep. And it is so deep, more mother, because I'm from Philly. All my family's in Philly, in West Philly. So I will
wow.
make some.
Yeah, well, please, I'll make sure everyone gets a little package of things. So if you could definitely connect us, you know, with that information. And thank you to the Harlem Stage. When I was there, I couldn't believe the crowd, how beautiful and multi-generational and interested, you know, it was just absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to get back to Harlem, you know, God willing. Please.
We can't wait to have you back as well. And also, Lisa, you haven't been since I've been there in the last 3 years. I know you have a long history with Harlem Stage. So we look forward to seeing your work. We have just a few minutes left. Sekou, do you want to tell us about where we can find you? And also, Lisa, are you also doing the hot sauce, the gangster hot sauce?
Yeah, I got my whole gangster goddess line, my gangster goddess
Okay,
body
need
butter,
that.
gangster goddess hot sauce. So I just finished the body butter. Hot sauce is on deck. Yes. And you know, like hot sauce and body butter, like that's, you know, ancient and futuristic. So, you know, we gotta be, you know, like healthy in the future, and we gotta be, you know, shea buttered baby down, you know, when we are like, you know, traversing the frequencies and, you know, the dimensions. Like that's going with us too, you know, the shine and the gleam. So yeah, yeah. And I'm just really grateful to Harlem Stage for creating this platform, and you know, for Nona for setting it off from before, like, you know, the mother of this, you know, before Afrofuturism was even a word. you
Right.
you know, Mama was stepping out with like, you know, the future. And you know, because in this, and I think it's really important that we're having this conversation like right now, as we're at a real critical point in just this history and this time and this pandemic, and you know, just all of these challenges that we're dealing with, because we're at like the pendulum has swung, and we're breaking through this like membrane of something different, and we're feeling we're losing people, we're hurting, but we're also creating something new. So I think it's really powerful that this whole theme of a concept of Afrofuturism is now in the zeitgeist. It's now people are gravitating to it, and you know, investigating it and exploring it. Even though it's not new, it's always been here, but there's a resurgence, there's a resurrection of it, because you know, Black people, we are in the future, we are in the past, we are ancient, present, future now. So I'm just really grateful for Harlem Stage and for Nona for you know, for setting this conversation off in this moment right now.
I love it. The word that came up as you were speaking is metaphysicians, that it feels as though folks are more willing to lean into being a metaphysician, and that doesn't cancel out any other spiritual practice that you might have grown up with or that you might want to embrace as well. We need all the tools that are available to us to be exercised as much as you can to your capacity, you know, and your own understanding. So did you tell us, Lisa, where we can find you?
I'm all on my website and Instagram. It's my name, Liza Jessie Peterson is Instagram, and Liza Jessie P, LizaJessiep.com is my website. So yeah, I'm on the you know, social media stage. That's my platform. That's my stage. So you can find me there performing in some box somewhere.
Right. Perfect. Sekou?
I guess right now for me, I'll just want to say we're in a season where collaboration is just the key. I think especially COVID, all this is revealed to us that the way forward, when we think of it as a future, is very much in creating together and creating community. So you like, I'm doing a lot of different collaborations now with different artists. So this has been one, and Harlem Parade is another one. I have collaboration with Creator Genius Report or Conversations with Christian. So you'll find me in the collaborations that I'm building together with people. I'm on social media, Sekou Luke Studio. But it's really right now, it's a time very much for us. I'm glad to be a part of this circle, and I'm honored to be present with such powerful women and visionary people who are saying this is the future and shaping a different story of us. So that's just my desire. So I'm looking forward to continuing collaborating together.
Yes. We'd be like really a whole other energy on this planet, right? Yeah. And it's wonderful when we can feel that energy that we put out there and bring it together and mix it together with each other, because we are really, really, really powerful people. And as Kame says, we can change anything. If we can change our existence from how we were brought here, how from then to now, we can change anything.
Absolutely. So as we close this conversation, we have next Monday for our part 2, and that is with Nona Alondra Nelson, Deborah Whaley, and Felicia Francis. do you
No,
want to
Terry.
Terry Francis, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Nona, do you want to talk a little bit about that program as a preview?
Yes, Alondra Nelson and I will be discussing the family tree, the Mothers of Invention family tree that we are working on creating, and starting with the root, which I talked about earlier, the poet Phyllis Wheatley from 1753, all the way through to N.K. Jemisin, present day Afrofuturism writer and speculative fiction. And, you know, through to Octavia Butler, Ida B. Wells, Zora Neale Hurston, just really looking at where the beginnings that we know of. Some of them are, people don't know of. Mixing the literature to the science, looking at the women that people do know of, the hidden figures, if you're talking about Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan. But there were others. There were other, Mae Jemison, who was the first African-American woman to go into space. We also talk about Uhuru, who was in space, but not in space, but in space.
Michelle Nichols, yes.
Yeah. And, and also just the really investigating all of those areas that tie into each other, whether it's the science that underlies it, whether it's mathematics and, art and creativity, that there are so many women of color who have not gotten recognition. The first African-American comic strip maker or character writer, Jackie Orms, and she created a Black Doll, and she created, there's so much that we need really like a monthly series to be able to truly dig into it. But one day, Alondra and Alondra will be talking to Terry Francis, a researcher and scholar on African-American women and their literary, speculative fiction and Afrofuturism novels or books, and she also will be speaking to, my brain is gone, but be here. My brain will be back by then.
With Deborah Whitley.
Yes, my brain will be back by then. Right.
And Alondra is a scholar and at the Smithsonian. So all of the women that Nona is bringing and all of the artists that you brought have been extraordinary. So we look forward to seeing you next week at 7 p.m. Thank you, Sekou. Thank you, More Mother. Thank you, Lisa Jessie Peterson. And thank you, Nona Hendricks, also known as Cyborico, for leading us on this journey.
Thank you, More Mother.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a safe night.
Good evening.
Hugs. Give me your hugs. Hugs.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night.